there, those eyes.
Love it when you look at me, baby. Feels next to me. Oh, baby, when you're kissing me. Oh, baby, when you're loving me.
Our relationship has been based in the media because it's nothing that we ever said about it. You know what I'm saying? People tend to put us together, then they tend to split us up whenever they feel.
At 43, Ashanti confirms what we all thought, that her story with Nelly was far from over.
And it felt like it wasn't pressure, you know? It felt like a familiar place. And we wanted to just see where it was gonna go, you know what I mean?
But what we didn't expect was just how messy the middle had gotten. From label sabotage and public betrayal to years of silence and secret heartbreak, Ashanti's journey wasn't just about love. It was about survival. And now, the world is finally catching up to the truth.
So crazy, because we kind of both hated each other around that time, so we never saw it coming.
Before she became the most talked about woman in Nelly's life, before the rumors, the gay accusations, and the viral reunion, Ashanti Douglas was just a girl with a headshot and a voice. Born in Glen Cove, New York, the daughter of a dance teacher and a former singer, her journey into music wasn't a straight shot. In fact, she didn't even realize she could sing until her mother overheard her one day belting out Mary J. Blige's Reminisce, thinking it was the radio. From there, Ashanti's path was filled with almosts. At just 14, she signed with Jive Records, but the label wanted another Britney Spears, not a gritty R&B voice. So she walked away. A few years later, Epic Records gave her a shot in Atlanta, but when the exec who signed her got fired, she was dropped again. Still no album, just a teenage girl chasing a dream that kept slipping through her hands. It wasn't until she connected with Irv Gotti at Murder Inc. that things finally clicked. She started by writing hooks, penning tracks for J-Lo, and singing backup for Big Pun. But then came Ja Rule. Always on Time dropped in late 2001, and the rest was history. That collab hit #1, and so did the next with Fat Joe, What's Love? And then her solo debut dropped. The numbers were insane. Over 500,000 copies sold in the first week. She broke records, hit #1, and even landed in the Guinness Book for highest first-week sales by a female debut artist. Foolish took over the charts.
I don't know how I allow you to treat me this way and still.
She was only the second act since the Beatles to land 3 songs in the top 10 at once. But success made her a target. Critics called her a puppet, said she was riding Ja Rule's coattails. One hater even started a petition claiming she didn't deserve her Soul Train Aretha Franklin Award. Nearly 30,000 people signed it. Radio stations opened up phone lines just to let people call in and bash her. One critic even made a whole website to mock her. It was brutal. But Ashanti didn't flinch. She dropped her second album, Chapter 2, and it went platinum too. By the time she released Concrete Rose in 2004, she was 3 for 3. Each album going platinum, each one stacked with hits. And then, things got complicated. You see, when Ashanti first met Nelly, it wasn't fireworks. It was sarcasm. Ashanti later on revealed, "The first time I met Nelly, he asked me for my autograph, but I think he was being sarcastic." It was backstage at the 2003 Grammy nominations event. She thought it was a joke. He played it cool. But slowly, things escalated. It took him a while to even get her number, and even longer before either of them would admit anything real was going on. For years, they danced around the truth in interviews. Ashanti was in full denial mode by 2005, saying they were just friends. Nelly echoed it in his own words. "You gotta be friends first." But that didn't explain why he kept showing up in her videos, why their chemistry on stage was undeniable, or why they were being photographed together everywhere. Ashanti later admitted, "Nelly was my first real love." But the truth was far messier, because behind the music videos and red carpets was a relationship weighed down by something no one could fix: trust. In 2015, Ashanti went on The Meredith Vieira Show and gave a rare look behind the scenes. She said, "I think sometimes when people have their own insecurities, it allows them to act out of character. I've been betrayed." She never said his name. She didn't have to. The rumors had already circulated for years. Between 2010 and 2012, their relationship was constantly under scrutiny. Allegations of infidelity, arguments behind the scenes, breakups and reconciliations that played out in headlines and whispers. The media poked and speculated, and Ashanti stayed mostly silent until she couldn't anymore. In 2013, they broke up again, and this time, it stuck. For a while, Ashanti would later say, "Sometimes relationships run their course, but fans knew there was more to it." She started hinting at deeper wounds. During a 2018 concert, a fan shouted from the crowd, "F Nelly." Ashanti replied, "Word." That one moment, raw and unfiltered, said everything. The emotional damage was real. She had built something with Nelly that lasted nearly a decade, even if they never admitted it publicly. And when it ended, it left a silence. Years passed. The sighting stopped. So did the speculation. It looked like whatever they had was over for good. Then 2021 happened. Ashanti and Nelly both showed up at a Versus battle between Fat Joe and Ja Rule. Fans had no idea they were going to be on the same stage. The hug they shared went viral in seconds, and in that single moment, old questions resurfaced. Were they talking again? Was it serious? Were they finally ready to stop pretending? At first, Ashanti shut it down. When Ja asked if there was a chance of getting back together, she laughed it off. But something had clearly shifted. A few months later, the two were seen more and more. Concerts, backstage moments, subtle posts. And by 2023, the confirmation came with a bang. Ashanti showed up at the VMAs with a gold clutch printed with a throwback photo of her and Nelly. But while fans celebrated, not everyone was happy. Especially not Chantel Jackson, the woman Nelly dated during his long split from Ashanti. She opened up about her 2021 breakup with Nelly, shedding light on the end of their 7-year relationship. Many wondered why she is talking about it now, given that her ex is allegedly married and expecting a child soon with Ashanti. For Jackson, who was once linked to Floyd Mayweather, she wanted to clear the air and quash any make-believe stories. Appearing fresh-faced with a pink terry cloth headband, she told her followers about the split. "I left," Jackson began, before emphasizing she was the one who pulled the plug on the relationship. "I left because I wanted initially, I guess, space to see. Maybe, will the space bring us back together? Or do I need this space because I just need to rip off that Band-Aid?"
No, no ill will, nothing bad. Just sometimes people don't work out. People grow apart. Sometimes one person might want to be still in the situation and the other person is this isn't working. It happens.
For context, Nelly was arrested in October 2017 after a woman named Monique Green accused him of essaying her on his tour bus in Washington state. The criminal case was later dropped when she declined to cooperate, but she eventually filed a civil lawsuit after Nelly publicly called her a liar. Then it got worse. 2 more women came forward. One claimed that after a show in Essex, Nelly masturbated in front of her and forced her to perform oral sex. Another said he groped her at a London after-party, despite her telling him to stop. Both women requested anonymity. The lawsuit described it as a pattern of conduct that Nelly preyed on female fans during and after shows. Nelly denied the first allegation and hasn't publicly responded to the newer ones. His lawyer called the suit motivated by greed. But the damage, legally and publicly, was already unfolding. Chantel Jackson stood with him through all this, and still, Nelly walked away. She had stayed loyal during one of the darkest chapters of his life, when accusations of SA began to surface. In 2017, a college student named Monique Green accused Nelly of essaying her on his tour bus in Auburn, Washington. He was arrested, but the case was dropped after Green declined to cooperate. Then she filed a civil suit, and more allegations followed. According to new filings, 2 other women, one in Essex and one in London, accused Nelly of separate assaults. One woman said he groped her at an after-party. Another said he exposed himself and forced her to perform oral sex. Both claims were included in the lawsuit as part of a pattern of conduct, showing Nelly had allegedly preyed upon his selected female fans. Nelly denied the initial claim and has yet to publicly respond to the newer ones. His legal team called the suit motivated by greed. Through all of it, Chantel defended him. She wrote statements, shut down online backlash, and publicly supported his innocence. But when she asked for space, he walked out for good and went back to Ashanti. Now, as their baby news spreads and the marriage papers surface, the question lingers. Why did Ashanti go back? Maybe it was love. Maybe it was unfinished business. Or maybe, just maybe, it was time to reclaim something that had been stolen from her a long time ago. And next, she'd have to face the man who once claimed to own her career. Irv Gotti. Ashanti's professional breakthrough was built inside the walls of Murder, Inc. But when those walls started crumbling, Irv Gotti made sure she went down with them. It's easy to forget now, but for a few golden years, Murder, Inc. was untouchable. Ashanti was their crown jewel. Ja Rule was everywhere. Irv was the mastermind. But power comes with ego, and when Ashanti started getting too much attention, too much control, Irv didn't handle it well.
Me and Nelly were dating. Irv was salty. Irv would not let me come to the studio to record. Irv was telling everyone not to record with me. You want to be with Nelly? Go sign a dirty A&T. We don't want you.
Irv Gotti, the same man who helped launch her career, actively tried to block it once she found happiness outside his control. He told producers not to work with her, locked her out of the Murder, Inc. studios, told her if she wanted to be with Nelly, she could go sign a dirty contract somewhere else. By that point, she'd had enough. Ashanti made the decision to walk away, not just from a label, but from a situation that had become toxic. What Irv didn't expect, though, was that she would also take the fans with her. But instead of owning his actions, Irv got bitter. For years, he stayed quiet about their past, until 2022, when BT aired the Murder, Inc. story, and Irv flipped the narrative. Irv claimed they had a relationship, claimed she broke his heart, claimed she ran to Nelly just to hurt him. Ashanti wasn't having it.
Irv is like mentally not in a good place, you know? Irv has flat out lied about a lot of things. I don't need to bring someone down to make myself feel like, yeah.
She also reminded the world he was married, with a whole wife and several girlfriends. So where exactly did he get the idea they were anything more? She called him out, not just for fabricating a love story, but for using his power to punish her when she didn't fall in line. And yet, despite all that, Ashanti didn't stay silent. She didn't disappear. She fought back with the thing Irv tried hardest to take from her, her music. In 2022, she announced she had finally won the rights to her masters. Every album she released under Universal, and Braveheart, her only independent release. She didn't just get her music back, she started re-recording it. For Ashanti, that battle wasn't just about business. It was personal, because when Irv shut her out, when Murder, Inc. dried up, she had to start over. She launched her own label, booked her own deals, protected her own name, and eventually rebuilt her life. But Irv wasn't the only danger she faced. Behind the scenes, there were other battles, the kind that didn't make headlines, but left scars. While the headlines focused on Ashanti's chart positions, label splits, and high-profile romances, the darker parts of her life played out quietly in courtrooms and in silence. It started in 2009. A man named Davar Hurd was convicted of stalking Ashanti. He had sent her explicit messages, harassed her sister, and even texted a graphic image of himself to her mother. Ashanti thought it would end there, but he came back. In 2013, Heard was arrested again, this time for violating a restraining order. And he didn't stop. For years, he harassed her with sexual messages, courtroom rants, and bizarre claims that they were in a relationship. Ashanti was forced to relive his obsession over and over in court. Luckily, in 2016, he was found guilty in March 2016 of felony second-degree stalking after sending several X-rated tweets to her and her sister, and even texting an X-rated picture of himself to her mother. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison and banned from contacting her family for 5 more. But the damage had already been done. Ashanti spent years looking over her shoulder, taking extra security measures, and sitting through traumatizing testimony just to protect her peace. And all of it was happening while she was trying to mount a comeback. Her 2008 album, The Declaration, had flopped compared to her earlier work. Not because it lacked music quality, but because Murder, Inc. was in freefall. The label had been dragged into a federal money laundering investigation, and Irv Gotti's name was all over it. Irv, along with others, was accused of laundering more than $1 million in drug money by federal agents in 2003 and went to trial through 2005. Eventually, they were acquitted. Ashanti maintained that she supported Irv through the ordeal, but by his own interviews, he didn't see it that way. And by 2009, he released her from Murder, Inc. entirely. That should have been her clean slate. Instead, she entered an industry that had changed and wasn't always welcoming, especially not to women like her who didn't have a machine behind them anymore. Ashanti responded the only way she knew how, by building something of her own. She founded Written Entertainment, released Braveheart in 2014. The album opened at number 10, a respectable comeback, but none of its singles charted. Her name just didn't ring the same in the press anymore, not unless it was attached to Nelly, drama, or controversy. And then came something more serious. In 2022, during an interview with The Breakfast Club, Ashanti revealed what she had only briefly mentioned in 2018, that she had been SA'd by a male producer while working on Braveheart. He initially offered her 2 songs for free, then he changed his mind. "He said I could have the records if I showered with him," she said, "or I'd have to pay $40,000 per song." When her family stepped in, the man backed down and offered her 3 tracks for free instead. But the violation was real, and it wasn't the only one she faced in the industry. Ashanti didn't name him. She didn't have to. The music world has seen this story too many times. Men in power, women with dreams, the unspoken cost of being a woman in control. Despite all this, Ashanti kept performing. She toured. She acted. She went on Versus against Keisha Cole and walked away the crowd favorite. She got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2022. But even as her public profile bounced back, her past refused to stay buried. Especially when Irv went on Drink Champs, bragged about sleeping with her, and turned their alleged situationship into clickbait. Ashanti handled it calmly, but she also made it clear she was done letting others speak for her. She was working on her own documentary now, her own story, her own truth. And through all that pain, something else returned. Something fans had waited over a decade to see, Nelly. But their reunion wasn't the end of the story. It was just the spark for a whole new controversy. By the time Ashanti and Nelly reunited in 2023, the internet wasn't just excited, it was obsessed. The red carpet moment, the throwback purse, the viral backstage hug, fans called it a love story, 2 decades in the making. It didn't take long before Nelly posted a picture of Ashanti sitting on his lap with the caption, "Of course not beautiful. I'm fine. Love you too." Ashanti reposted it with a laugh and a bombshell. "LMAO, babe, I'ma let you out. How much time you need? I'm gonna need about 9 months." That was it. Confirmation. At 43 years old, Ashanti was pregnant with her first child, and soon after, TMZ got the documents. Ashanti and Nelly had secretly gotten married on December 27, 2023, in St. Louis. What had once been rumor, speculation, and tabloid filler was now real and legal. But that wasn't the end of the whispers, because even as fans embraced their favorite couple's comeback, the shadows surrounding Nelly never fully disappeared. Gay rumors had followed Nelly for years. They weren't new, but with every romantic shift in his life, they gained new fuel. Some of the noise came from his exes. Some came from fans. Others claimed to know things: encounters, private parties, rumors from inside the industry. Ashanti never addressed them publicly. She didn't need to. Her focus was on protecting her family, her image, and now her child. Ashanti was now being praised as the comeback queen, but her journey had taken its toll. The emotional back and forth with Nelly, the accusations around his past, the media silence about his lawsuits, and now the responsibility of becoming a first-time mom while navigating a high-profile reconciliation with a man whose name never quite escapes controversy. Still, Ashanti stood firm. In public, she wore that pregnancy like a crown. On stage, she laughed and joked, and behind the scenes, she locked in her next moves. She'd already bought back her masters, reclaimed her narrative, exposed the gatekeeping, shut down Irv Gotti, protected her family from a stalker, called out sexual coercion. And now, after everything, she was building a new legacy. One that wouldn't be defined by who doubted her, what Irv claimed, or what exes whispered in jealousy. Ashanti confirmed what we all thought. She was never just the hook girl, never just Nelly's love interest, never just a one-album wonder. She was, and is, a survivor. And now, she's a mother. Ashanti's journey wasn't perfect, but it was real. From platinum records to public betrayals, from industry sabotage to finding love again on her own terms. At 43, she's rewriting her story, not for headlines, but for herself. And whether fans came for the music, the drama, or the love story, one thing's clear: Ashanti never needed saving. She just needed time. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.